Well, this is Baruch Fleischman. I'm here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel. This is a book, Sefer APAYIM, which at one time meant a tremendous amount to me. It's what actually got me into learning the works of Rebbe Nachman. Now, I had seen some things from Rebbe Nachman, and I was in a very tragic situation at that time, and I needed help. I knew it. And I had seen some things. You have to understand that my age, the age that I am, is born right at the end of World War II. It's a new age for people. We're the boomers, but it was a new age. Jewish books after the massacres were able to be published in the United States in quantities. And one man, this man, Rebbe ELIEZER SHLOMO, it's spelled ELIEZER, Rebbe ELIEZER SHLOMO, ELIEZER SHLOMO SCHICK. As a person I would describe, from my point of view, as a Satmar Chosed. So I'm from the Midwest, and I'm from a Russian, very assimilated family, came from Russia a long time ago. I never met any Satmar Chasidim before. And I wound up living in a neighborhood which was populated there, and there was a shtibel there, and I used to go there davening, very informal, really, really nice. Tremendous cholent, like you wouldn't believe it. And that was shtibel life. I got into it a little bit. That never became a chosed. But I was interested in that culture. In the midst of my tragedy, somebody gave me this book. It turns out this book is written by Rebbe ELIEZER SHLOMO SCHICK, and he's had a big impact in the early part of the late part of the 20th century, the beginning of the 21st century. He's nifter now, but he made all these little books, these little tiny books, which had just a blurb about, you're having trouble with your family, you're having this problem, that problem, how to find God in that. This is a little blurbalach. But it affected many, many people, and he had people around him. But he did nothing but write, and one of the books he wrote is this book, APAYIM. It's a giveaway book. They give you a book, and, you basically give them a little bit. You give them $1, give them $5, whatever. They published and published and published, and he was very proud of all the things that he published. They publicized the work of Rabbi Nachman. His family was a family, with poor people. They escaped Europe. I think before the war. He was born in Eretz Yisrael in real serious poverty. He came up with this Sefer APAYIM. Now, the idea of APAYIM really means long nostrils, but it actually refers to patience. That life is full of trouble, tragedies, pathetic things that can't be stopped, hassles, constant strife. So he wants to say that there are different places where categories he wants to talk about. First, he talked about making a living and how difficult that can be. He gave some simple eitzes, how to find God in that, how to get yourself beyond the pure physicality. So let's look at what he's going to say in this regard. He said, "V'chein the inyan of the philus," also the depressions, but let's say the falls. She'over love ma'atzmo, that happened to a person from his own averas. So he writes like this: Bekam every time. Bekam b'nei adam noiflim b'datim, people, they fall in their thinking. In other words, they become depressed. Machma shepagmo harbe ba'od. So this is a principle, I think, that you see in this, at BRESLOV, that our sexual averas have a lot to do with our mental state. It doesn't mean to say that there's not trouble for everybody, but this is the deepest part of it. And because of the averas that the persons do, they fall, they become depressed. Misyashim, they give up hope. Legamri, b'avodas Hashem Yisbarach, from the avodah of Hashem Yisbarach. V'yeshen shenefilasim amukum ma'od, there are people who fall into tremendous, tremendous depths. Ma'od rachman l'slam b'bagama bris. B'bakal pam noiflim yoser v'yoser me'esh ha'maduras she'avral b'hem. So each time that you get into these kinds of averas, which you're going to call which we call Pagama Bris. Person gets deeper and deeper. But Davadai, Oz Machnis Bechem Samach Mem, then the force of evil. It's called the Samach Mem, which is the angel of our brother Esau, Esav. That Samach Mem, that force that inside of our brother, and around whom we continue to live. Samach Mem Yeush Mariros, a tremendous loss of hope and bitterness, Vokmimios, and a crookedness. Kilo Ovid Menusam, as if the people have no hope, they have no chance. But Tikvasam the Gamri, and their hope for the future is gone. Because Zechabahu Rak Metach Sayet Sahara. So he wants to know this simple fact. There is a force of the other side. It's our fraternal brother. We go with him everywhere. And he's a human being too. He has, though, as well, all different kinds of traps and ammunition to drive you down. Kina lefila bedata, because a person becomes depressed, fall in his thinking. V'chayeush, and the passive person gives up hope. Gurua mikol ha'averos. This is the worst of all of the averos. Sheba olam sha'avar, of this world that is constantly moving, changing. Because there's another fact you have to know, that in the midst of your mistakes, there is a path of tshuva coming back. And he says, understand this. If the real joy in life is clinging to eternity, then you have to understand the path of repentance. The Baal Tshuva, which is what they call Bali Tshuva, people who come back, they can reach the ultimate highest possible place. Ki Eina Kodesh Baruch Hu Posach of the Bria, the Bari, Al-Vakol Hu Mekabel. He doesn't say, the word is the Bria. So he says he doesn't nullify any creature, but he's open to everyone to receive everyone. Hasha'arim niftachim, he says the gates to Hashem are always open. B'kol shah. B'kol mishu hu mevakesh dikonis yikonis, and anybody wants to go in there, go in. Ki amra Kodesh Baruch Hu, because the Kodesh Baruch Hu says like this. The Yisrael to the Jewish people, B'ni, Pischuli, open up to me. Pesach echad, a little tiny opening. Shall tshuva kachuda shall machat. So he says that that you want to come back to me, make an opening in that world of depression in which you live, just the smallest amount, like the tip of a needle. Posech l'chol pesachim. So I'll open up lochem pesachim. I will open up for you other doors. Galos, Vikranos, there will be trucks and giant machinery, wagons. Niknasimbo will come in. Kalfilo Omed Adam Va'asa Gadishim Shalaveras, because even if a person does bundles of Averos, Omer HaKodesh Baruch Hu Ya'azeh Adam V'Teshuva, a man can come back, Kamosha L'chota, as if he never sinned. So, okay, so you're in this situation. You got off the derech. You were born like I was, where I didn't really know. I knew a little bit, but my mother's family was originally Orthodox, so they had holidays. I knew about the holidays. Some people grew up and they didn't even have a Pesach Seder, or they didn't know what Rosh Hashanah was. So you had no taste for it at all. Hashem Yisbarach, as the Olam, V'katrigal, he was creating the world, and then the Malachim came along and they complained. Al Mashav Shava Tivrach V'Asa Adam, what worth is it? What value is it that you created this man? He also Lamachtakamach, he's going to sin before you. Heishid Lachem Hashem Yisbarach, so Hashem answered to them. It's for nothing that I'm called merciful and gracious. So the tshuva, for this is the reason that I created tshuva, That you'll come back to him in tshuva, that you'll find a pathway, it's built in. But then you see you want to come back. You want to start going, and you want to start learning. You want to try to find your way back. But his Yetzer Hara comes back again. It really starts getting him into the same lust that he had before. And it's if you see that, it never left me, and I'm lost. But and also because there's a tremendous amount of weakness. That comes into this person every time that he gets into this realm of thinking. He also has a little weakness, more weakness for his soul to continue to strive to try to manifest itself. And he starts thinking there's no way to fix this. Shrieking the Hashiv, the Yetzer Hara, so he has to answer back to the Yetzer Hara, and they say like this, what? So it's for sure true. That you bring into the heart. You hear this phrase. Every time you do an Avera, it has a tremendous corruption of the blessing of God. Apim came im mashum ha yakalkel Yosef, but let's say you know this. You know this, you heard this, somebody told you, you know this. You know that even if somebody didn't tell you this. Ach im came im mashum ha yakalkel Yosef, does it again. Kamosh Amachazal, al piv al tir shachacharba, where it says over the pasuk in Gemara and Shabbos, he says, don't make yourself evil too much. I mean, if you got a bad trait, don't push it. Ki misha achul shum, because a person who's eating garlic, v'reichel nodif, and then the smell from his mouth is really strong. Yaksevi achul shum, go back and eat some more garlic. Vihi reichel nodif yosers, and then he'll smell worse. El Kavar Amar Rebbe Zal, but Rebbe Nachman already said, let me see if a Kavar said, Im Adam Ma'amen Sheyakol in the Kakel, and I heard this phrase, and I'll say it again, if you believe that you can corrupt, and you could go to the physical world completely, that has no out, you will die in the end. That's all you are. You can believe that you can be mekalkel, and I heard that SHLOMO Carlebach say this many years ago. Ta'amin sheyakolin nesakin, and that's the basic idea. You believe that if you can corrupt it, that you could also rebuild it. So he said, "Bavadai tzaraka adam l'shuv l'Hashem yisbarach b'leiv nishbar." Take your broken heart now, and say it over to Hashem. V'yisapach alav yisbarach, as kol libo, and say your whole heart over to Him. V'kol masha over b'prati pratios, and talk about it, all the bad things that you did. Talk about it. He knows. He's it. Avolo lisrachek b'menu yisbarach, but don't distance yourself from Hashem. Find Him, talk to Him. Ayidei shemarges eskov avanosa. So then he goes on and try to finish this little parak here, this little part here. So all of these hardnesses that he makes on himself, being roa be'ezes sefer, and then he sees a sefer, and the sefer is very, very strict. It's a Musar sefer. Where he talks all about a person who has gone off the derech and gotten involved with sexual affairs. This refers to men, women. That's who we are. That person has to put into his heart a sefer, who that bit which told him that what a bad person he is for that. Who rak l'karav v'lo l'rachik. It's not for the purpose of saying you're no good and you can't come in. It's for the purpose of telling you there's a place here for you. Ki megala lo as chomer averas, because it's revealing to the person that it's serious what he or she is doing. Shelo ya'aver that you should never have gotten involved with that to begin with. But let's say that's life. This is America. The majority of Jews don't eat kosher food. And they get involved in all the dirtiness, the schmutz of the world that's around us. No question about it. So he says, but believe this, you had this fall, these different things that you did which were not good. This is what you need to do. You have to run away from it. You have to run to Hashem, to make urgent in yourself to come back to the real meaning of life. But how are you going to do this? This is not something, as we were reading earlier in Rabbi Y.C. Memran, where Rabbi Memran is saying that you have to be a sovereign too. Sovereign means that you have to be able to bear the fact that you're messing up, trying to get back, messing up, trying to get back, messing up, trying to get back, and getting back, and keep working on it. That's savlanos. That's bearing the burden of coming back. Because it's not for, as Reb Shek says in other places, it's not for nothing that Hashem created the world with all the difficulty that's in it, and we're in that world. Below the hakshel kushios, and don't start asking questions. How did it come to all these sinning people? But pratios shekuvar kibel al atzmo lola asos devarim ke'elu. He already says he's not going to go back and start doing the same thing. In the end, he's not able to stand up. So when this happens, a person tries to get in, but he finds himself on the outside. His heart becomes twisted. Bakushas with different kinds of kashas about why this, why that. Kfidos and different special things that he has to do. Al atzmo. He wasn't able to hold himself back. I mean, just starts looking at himself as that, that he's lost again. You have to forget it. Forget that. See, because it keeps coming back. The Veras are like a permanent attachment to us. So they keep talking to us and telling us how bad we are. That gets you into more depression and more Veras. So you have to forget everything. To begin in itself, a new beginning. Also, every time, you have to have tremendous amount of patience to be able to bear this life and the process of tshuva. Below yaskil lahakshos alat, but don't start asking questions about yourself. Like I say again, the Veras themselves are the agents of criticizing you. So he says, below yaskil lahakshos alatmo shum kushios. So get away from the kushios. Remember that that's who's talking to you, and you're going a different direction. Rak yaknis badata, but bring into your mind. B'cha ne'era imi. V'alai la'havir akol midati. He says, I think the word is kach, ne'era al imi, that should happen with me. V'alai la'havir akol midati, and what I want to do is I want to remove it all from my thinking. V'lachaskil levruch m'chodosh olav yisparach, and start again. This is the process of tshuva. Tshuva is not, used to be you could pay for a tshuva in another religion. Here you have to do it yourself, but you'll fall. And you have to do it again. This is the way of climbing. Up 1, down 1, up 2, down 1. Keep moving. This is Baruch Fleischman. We're listening to the words of Rebbe ELIEZER, SHLOMO, SCHICK,